important is that we try our best, we strive for excellence and not perfection. And you know what? Let's all say this together right now, okay? Repeat after me. I release the need to be perfect. I release the need to be perfect. Perfectionism does not serve me. I release the need to be perfect. Perfectionism does not serve me. Write that down in your notebooks.
You're listening to the First Class Life Show hosted by Lindsey Vertner, a holistic personal development show for high-achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So grab a drink, grab your notebook, and let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of the First Class Life Show. My name is Lindsey Vertner, and I am super excited to just serve you with the First Class Life podcast. We have phenomenal guests that are going to come and share and drop a lot of gems, a lot of knowledge so that you can grow and develop in all areas of your life. Because the First Class Life Show is a holistic personal development show for you to be able to maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And on this first episode here, we're going to talk about what is a first-class life anyway. What does that mean? Why is it important? Why do we need it? And we're going to break it down, okay? So if at any point throughout the podcast shows, throughout the guests, throughout your life, you need to come and just get a pick-me-up or get a refresher, this is the episode to tune into, okay? You'll be able to put this on replay, take lots of notes, and all kinds of good stuff. So let's just hop right in on what does it mean to live a first-class life? Well, here's the thing. Before I get specifically on what it means anyway, I think you need to know the backstory and how it came to fruition in the first place, because that was the foundation of what you see today. So let's just hop right into it. All right, let's get going. And we're going to be very conversational. Is that cool with you? Is that cool? Like, I'm not going to be talking at you. This is not going to be a professional speech or anything. This is a conversation between me and you, okay? Just pretend we're sitting on a couch, we're having some drinks, and we're just having a good time, getting to know one another. That's what this is, all right? So get comfortable, grab your drink, grab your notebook, and let's get to it. Now, in going back to the beginning of where this all started, in May 2007, I found myself waking up in complete darkness. I had no clue where I was. I couldn't see anything around me except the moonlight shining through an unfamiliar window. I want to move and I couldn't move. I want to call out and I couldn't speak. And so in my head, I watch too much TV, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I just knew that some psycho had tied me up and was waiting to torture me in his basement, because what other explanation could there be? I'm in complete darkness. I have no clue where I'm at. I can't see, can't speak, can't move. That's got to be it, right? So in my overthinking, I start to panic. And I panic so much because I don't know what else to do in that moment. I can't see, I can't think, I can't do anything but panic. And I'm panicking so much that I eventually exhausted myself out to the point where I passed out. And the next time I woke up, I thought to myself, man, what a horrible nightmare. I don't ever want to experience that again. But then I slowly realized that I still didn't know where I was. I still couldn't see, I still couldn't speak, and I still couldn't move. The only thing that had changed was now the sunlight was shining through that same unfamiliar window. However, before I could panic again, I heard voices. And a lady walks up to me and she starts talking to me and asking me questions. She's like, well, hello, can you tell me your name? Do you know what day it is? And I'm looking at this lady like she's crazy. And I'm thinking that I'm answering her out loud. But in reality, the only noises coming out of my mouth were, because there was a tube going down my throat, keeping me alive. Turns out this petite blonde lady is my nurse, and she proceeds to tell me that an entire week earlier, on May 13th, 2007, the car I was driving went off the opposite side of the highway, flipped multiple times as if it were doing backflips before landing upside down. My head was pinned between the ground and the entire weight of the car on top of me. I was immediately pronounced brain dead on the scene. But God, because they put me in a helicopter and lifelined me to a trauma hospital where again, I was pronounced brain dead upon arrival by a new set of medical professionals. But God, because despite what it looked like to their logical brains, they proceeded to do emergency surgeries anyway. I was only placed on life support until my family could be contacted. So, wait. 1 minute, I'm minding my business, driving home from visiting my mother on Mother's Day. Yes, y'all, it was on Mother's Day. And the next, I'm waking up to being told that not only had I been brain dead for the past week, but on top of a long list of injuries, I was also paralyzed. Brain dead and paralyzed. Imagine that. For me, I didn't have to imagine that because it was my reality. And in that moment, as I listened to that nurse and her words faded off like Charlie Brown's teacher, like womp, 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 womp. All I could think to myself was, thank God I'm alive. And thank God I wasn't in some psycho's basement, okay? I still didn't know where I was, but at least I was safe in a hospital, all right? You know, we gotta laugh, okay? We gotta laugh. Y'all know I'm here and I made a recovery, so it's okay to laugh. It's okay to smile. But those were my first thoughts. And in that moment, I realized that it didn't matter how much crying I could do. It didn't matter if I threw myself the world's biggest pity party. I could not change the past and what had already happened. So how do I live the life that I desire to live? How do I live the life and future that I want with my dreams and my goals? Because I was only 19 or 20. I think I was 20 at the time. And, you know, I had not done all the things that I wanted to do. So I understood in that moment that I could either be a victim to my circumstances or I could be a victor over my obstacles. And obviously, I chose the latter. And because I chose the latter, that is why I am sitting in front of you today. That is why I made a full recovery. Not only did my physical recovery happen in miraculous timing, like record-breaking, all of my medical team was completely shocked, but I was able to walk out of the hospital in exactly 1 month's time. Yes. I mean, there was a long road to recovery still, and I still had ongoing therapy after that. But the fact that I went from brain dead and paralyzed to walking out of the hospital, I mean, technically it was a wobble, but who's really counting, okay? Who's really checking for that? I was up and I was not in a wheelchair. That was the important part. So as I started my recovery journey, I realized that I thought I was living life before, but I wasn't truly living life. I wasn't maximizing my impact. I wasn't creating the quality of life that I truly desired. And it wasn't until I went on that journey that I understood what it really meant to design your life, to create the life that you really want for yourself, the one that you dream about at night, the one that makes you emotional, the one that seems so far away, the one that seems like, oh, that's only for other people, or that's only for people that have a lot of money or have a lot of support or grew up with a silver spoon. It's not. It is for you. It is for me. It is for every single body that makes the choice to create it for themselves. No matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, racially or culturally or financially, none of that matters. What matters is what you decide to do with your life and the life that you still have yet to live. Because here's one thing that I do know is that no one is promised tomorrow. So we have to stop putting off the things that we want to do and dream about doing and desire to do. We can't put it off till tomorrow because we aren't guaranteed tomorrow. When we go to bed tonight, we might not wake up in the morning. And I hate to be morbid, but that's the reality. When we step outside of our house to go get a burger, we might not make it back home. You know? So all of those things we have to think about. No one is promised tomorrow. So we have to create the life that we desire today. And as I went on my recovery journey, this is where First Class Life came from. And I remember I fleshed it out on the way up a mountain at 4 a.m. in Bali, Indonesia. And I put all the pieces together because what I realized is as I was coaching myself through recovery and picking up things, I've always loved psychology. And I started studying other people and what makes them successful. I have a bachelor's in psychology, but even outside of that, I started studying actual people and observing actual people that were quote unquote successful. And we put successful in quotes, right? Because success is relative. It's subjective. You define what success looks like for you. But I noticed that there were common characteristics and common themes in those that were seemingly successful compared to those that were not. And so with First Class Life, it's actually an acronym that stands for all of the characteristics and skills that you want to embody into your lifestyle so that you can create a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. Okay, so we're going to talk about what each of those skills are. But also, here's another part of First Class Life. Not only is it an acronym that we're going to get it into in just a moment, but it is also a way of life. It is about creating the life that you desire, like I've said many times. It's about shedding away the mask that we put on when we get up each and every day. And y'all know what mask I'm talking about. The mask of pretending to be something we're not. The mask of shame, the mask of fear, the mask of doubt, the mask of a lack of confidence. All of those masks that we pile on when we wake up. And see, what we don't recognize is the burden of wearing those masks are heavy on our shoulders. Very, very heavy. And it starts to take a toll on not only our physical health, but our emotional health and our mental health. And all of those things are tied together. And they'll affect your financial health and your spiritual health. Okay? Because we are human. We take all of us everywhere we go, even when we try to turn it off. Okay, so living your first class life is about being intentional about the quality of life you are creating for yourself. It's being intentional about creating happiness in every moment that we can. And that doesn't mean that, you know, we have toxic happiness, because we don't want toxic positivity, because things happen and we have emotions for a reason and we need to feel them. But it is important to see the silver lining, because that's going to help you get further. Okay, it's going to help see you through. So that's what it means to live a first class life. It's about the quality of life you are creating for yourself. I'm so excited to hop into what these factors mean. Okay, so before I start, I know I keep saying that, but don't worry, y'all with me, okay? Before I start that, let me just give you a little bit more details on why it's important. Not only do we need to know that everything we desire, we are truly worth it, but a Harris poll shows that 2 out of every 3 people are unfulfilled in their lives. And there was a longitudinal, excuse me, I messed that word all the way up, but we family, so it's cool. There was a longitudinal study done by Dr. Lewis Terman of Stanford University, where he studied a generation literally over decades, from whenever they were young adults all the way until they were senior citizens and passing away. And the majority of them, almost all of them, said that they regret not going after their dreams. They regret not going after their goals. They regret, doing what other people wanted them to do instead of what they truly wanted them to do. And the people that did go after their dreams actually had longer lifespans than those that didn't. That's very key. The ones that did go after their dreams and goals and do the things that they desired to do had longer lifespans than those that didn't. So back to that Harris poll, 2 out of every 3 people are unfulfilled in their lives. And I don't want you to be part of that too, okay? No. We are going to create our first class life together. Now, here's some things when we're unfulfilled on a regular, consistent basis that increase our risk for depression. It increases our risk for anxiety. It weakens our immune system. It increased our risk for high blood pressure and so many other things. Like, I'm not about to give y'all a whole science spiel and biology and all of those things right now, because I really want to get into these factors. And I know you are dying to know as well, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. When we are not fulfilled in our lives and we're not living up to who we're called to be, when we put everyone else first, when we aren't going after our dreams and goals, when we're pretending to be something we're not, it takes a toll on our mental and emotional health, and that overflows into our physical health. So let's officially get into these factors, okay? Remember, first class life is a whole acronym, and the more of these characteristics and skills that you can embody into your lifestyle, the better. All right. You don't have to have all of them. Nobody has all of them perfectly, and one day you might be doing one area great and lacking in another area. And then the next week it might be flip-flop. So it can ebb and flow in and out. It all depends on what you're focused on and, just the harmony between it all. So don't get your panties all in a bunch. All right. So the F in first class life stands for faithful. Now, we have to be faithful in our spirituality and in who we are as a person. Okay, so let's start with faithful in our spirituality. Now, it doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are. Okay, this is important. And I'm going to get into why that's important. So just FYI, for everyone that is tuned in, I do believe in God. And so just know you're going to get that with me. You are free to believe in whatever you choose to believe in. And please don't write us off just yet, okay? Okay? Because there is still phenomenal information that will change the lives of anybody. But just know that when you get me, you're going to get God with me, okay? Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here right now. So faithful in spirituality. Now, for my spiritual people that are tuned in, you are probably familiar with Romans 8:28 that says, all things work together for my good according to his will and purpose. And whether you're spiritual or not, it is important that we have faith in something bigger than us, something outside of us, because our purpose is bigger than us, no matter what you believe in. So I gave you some scripture. Let me also give you some science. There was a 1950 study done at Johns Hopkins University that said whenever you have faith that things will work out for you, then you increase your chances of survival by 60% during life-threatening situations. What? By 60%, you increase your chances of survival during life-threatening situations, all because you had faith that it will work out for you. So it's in scripture, it's in science. Sometimes people think that those are two separate things, but they work together hand in hand, okay? They often mirror each other just in different words. All right. So also when you have faith that it's all going to work out for you, it also helps you to manage your emotions better because you aren't sitting here worried and freaking out like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It helps you to manage your emotions. 90% of our fears and worries actually never come true. So we begin ourselves all worked up and in a tizzy. That's a real old saying, huh? In a tizzy. For no reason at all. So it helps to manage your emotions. And then a question that I like to use whenever I find myself getting worked up or starting to worry about something or being fearful of something. And this was a great question during the height of the COVID and of the pandemic and things like that. So anytime you find yourself where you feel like you're losing control or you're constantly worrying about something, this is the question that you need to ask yourself. Can I control what I am worried about? If the answer is no, then you have to do everything in your power to release that thought and release that worry, because you are only causing yourself inner turmoil for nothing, for absolutely nothing. You are raising your blood pressure. You are raising your stress levels, all for nothing, because you can't control it no way. So what are you going to do? But if the answer is yes, you can control it, then it means it's time to take action. What do you need to do so that you can change the situation around? And if you can't do anything to change it around, then that means it's out of your control. So let it go, okay? Like those blind sisters, let it go. Now, also, you need to be faithful in your personality and who you are as a person. And when we look up faithful in the dictionary, it means dependable and reliable. That means you need to do the things that you say you're going to do. Okay? Now, this helps to improve your relationships because people can trust you. They can depend on you. They know that you're going to be the same you on Monday as you are on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even on Tuesday. Okay? They don't have to come in and be like, ooh, who we going to get today? I mean, I'm sure we can all think of that person where it's like, oh, I wonder what side of the bed they woke up on today. And we're kind of walking on eggshells. Nobody likes to do that. And so you have to be reliable in who you are. If you are a mean person, you need to be mean all throughout the week. Okay. But I know that you're tuned in to the First Class Life Show. So you're not a mean person, and definitely not intentionally. Okay. You want more and you desire to impact the world positively, not negatively. But you have to be dependable in who you are. All right. That doesn't mean that it can't change down the line as we grow and evolve. But overall, you got to be consistent. Okay. Okay. We all want good quality relationships, and that starts with being faithful as a person. It also helps for people to know how to take you. So for example, this is a perfect example. One time I had asked a young lady to be a guest with me on a news segment that I was going to be recording. And so she had told me while we were waiting in the green room, she said, Lindsey, listen, I was having a bad day this morning because we had to be there at like 6 a.m. And she said, my attitude was just all kind of off. It was funky. And before I walked out the door, I said, I'm about to meet Lindsey and I need to get myself together because I already know she's not going to have it. Like, I cannot bring this energy around Lindsey. And the fact that she told me that, like, it really stuck with me. Okay. Because had she not told me that, I would have never known. But it made me think when we are reliable as who we are as people, and you know, our values and our personality and things like that, then it helps people to self-adjust before they even get in our presence. So I am naturally a very optimistic person. You know, I try to see the good or find the solution versus focusing on the problem. And so because she knew that, she knew, oh, I can't bring this attitude around her. And she self-adjusted before she ever even got in my presence. But why could she do that? Because I'm reliable in who I am as a person. And so you have to make sure that you are reliable as well. All right. So let's get into the I of first. Okay. The I stands for intentional. And I always say, think it, see it, do it, be it. Okay. Before we can achieve our goals and our dreams, first we got to think it. We got to figure out what it looks like. All right. We got to think it in our head, think out all the details. And then I say, see it, because we need to visualize it. Even if we can't physically see it right now, if you get what I mean, we need to visualize what it looks like. We need to visualize ourselves in that goal, in that dream. So let's say, for example, your goal is to get out of debt. You need to visualize what it feels like for you to get out of debt. And if you don't know, what do you want it to feel like? You need to visualize what you're going to do when you're out of debt. You need to picture all of that in your head. Heck, write it down on paper, okay? Get it out and actually see it for real once you write it down. So think it, see it. And then what happens is that subconsciously our behaviors start to change just a little bit. That's the do it. And then eventually the things that we thought and that we saw and that we started to act a little bit different to achieve, we now become it. Think it, see it, do it, be it. And also with intention, where our focus goes, our energy flows. Okay. So we have to be very intentional about what we desire and focus on that. Because if you are focused on that, then it's only a matter of time until it becomes your reality. Now, there are some other factors that come into play, like taking action, but we'll get to that later on. But let's say that you're constantly focused on the lack, as in I lack support, I lack money, I lack education, I lack titles, I lack yada, 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 insert your excuse here. Then guess what? You're only attracting more lack into your life. Because again, where your focus goes, your energy flows. Yeah. So it's important to know what we don't want, but then focus on what we do want. Okay. So also remember, fuzzy intentions produce fuzzy results. So you need to be crystal clear about what you want. Otherwise, you can't get mad when it doesn't arrive just how you wanted it. Okay. So it's important that we understand all of the details of what we want. And sometimes that comes along the way as we're going through the journey. But fuzzy intentions produce fuzzy results. All right. And then think about this. When's the last time you've seen a burnt orange car? This is a little experiment I'm giving y'all right now. Okay. When is the last time you've seen a burnt orange car? Now, it's likely because you aren't focused on seeing burnt orange cars, you probably don't know when's the last time you saw one. But here's my challenge to you. Over this next week and this next few weeks, I want you to focus on seeing burnt orange cars and then come back and let me know in the comments what happens. I already know what's going to happen. I still want you to tell me in the comments, but I already know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to walk out your house today and go to the grocery store and go park right next to a burnt orange car. Okay. I've done this experiment on myself. I've ran it many times to make sure it wasn't a fluke. I've shared it with other people many times, and every time they come back with the same thing. Why? It's because before you weren't focused on burnt orange cars, but now, since you are focusing on finding burnt orange cars, they're going to start to pop up all over the place. Because why? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Okay. So very quickly, I want to share about one of my clients with you. And this client was in direct sales when she was working with me. And when she started, she was like, I'm a horrible recruiter. I just can't build a team. So I'm not even going to focus on that. But then she realized that that's where all the money resides, okay, in building a team. And so she wanted to become a director. And so we're not going to get into all the levels. I don't even know all the levels. But long story short, she was the bottom level type of consultant, okay? She didn't have anyone on her team, and she wanted to become a director. And so after working with me, she was laser focused and set her intentions on becoming a director. And that's all she focused on. And not only did she hit her goal, because this was earlier in the spring and she wanted to be there by the end of the year in December, not only did she hit her goal by August, but she surpassed her goal. Not just director and not just advanced director, but senior director. So she passed her goal by 2 levels because she was intentional and got focused and, done the other stuff that we'll talk about. But that is the importance of setting your intentions, okay? One last thing, then we're going to move on to the R, is that whenever you set your intentions clearly, it makes it easier to overcome the obstacles. Because here's what happens. Life happens, okay? Life happens to every single person. And so when our intentions are clear and those obstacles come, it makes it easier to keep going, to keep fighting, to jump over the hurdle. When we don't know what our intentions are or what we're fighting for, then it's easy to throw in the towel and give up. Okay? So that's the F and the I, faithful and intentional. Now we're going to move on to the R, which is very simple. Reflective. Oh, y'all know what? I forgot all about this. F is for faithful. I is for intentional for my audio listeners. I have graphics for my visual watchers, okay? I forgot all about it. We just been having a good conversation, all right? We've been having a great conversation that I forgot all about these. But no worries. Progress is better than perfection, okay? And we're going to get to that as well. But R is for reflective. We have to be self-aware. There is no way around it. When you are self-aware, it opens up the door to so much in your world. It opens up the door to healing. It opens up the door to growth and all kinds of other things. So we need to understand how we affect our environment. And on the flip side, how our environment affects us. So when we walk in the room, how does everybody feel? I'm sure if I said right now, think of a person that no matter when they come around, your mood always picks up. You're always happy to see them because of who they are, their demeanor, the energy that they bring, the love, the light, the happiness that they bring. Did you think of somebody? See, and look, I didn't even plan for that. That person is also faithful in who they are as a person, which is why anytime they come in the room, you know that your mood's going to go up. See how it all is tied together? So you have to ask yourself, what happens when I walk in a room? What happens when I'm talking to somebody? What happens when I ... How do you affect your environment? And on the flip side, how does your environment affect you? Now, this is very important that a lot of people miss the mark on, because when we don't understand how our environment around us affects our mood, our feelings, our emotions, our mental capacity, our thoughts, then we are subjecting ourselves to that trauma of whatever the situation is. We are allowing ourselves to be uncomfortable in that situation for longer than we need to. So let's say that you walk into a restaurant. You've never heard of this restaurant before. You just know that it's a new restaurant and you really want to go. You haven't heard any reviews about it or anything like that. But as soon as you walk in, all of a sudden, you feel uneasy. You feel something in your gut. You feel a little nervous, and that's not normally like you, but you sit down and decide to order and eat anyway. But the whole time you're eating, you feel this uneasiness. Now, there's an energy in the environment. Whatever you want to name the energy is up to you, but everything is energy, okay? Everything. So there's an energy in the environment that is affecting your mood. And if you aren't aware of that, then you are going to keep yourself in that place. But when you are aware of it, then you can say, you know what? Something don't feel right. And I really don't like how I feel here. So I'm going to go ahead and go. The same thing with people. Sometimes you can be around a certain group of people or a certain someone, and every time you're around them, you tense up You get nervous, and not in a good way. Oh, I'm smitten, I love them type of way, but like a negative type of tense, a negative anxiousness, anxiety, stress every time you're around this person. And if you don't recognize it, then you're going to continue to be around this person and subject yourself to that subconscious trauma on your body. Okay. But when you are self-aware, when you're reflective of how your environment affects you, then you can say, you know what? Every time I'm around Jessica, I feel uneasy and I don't like that. So I'm going to have to distance myself from Jessica. I'm going to have to not hang around Jessica so often. And you can change your environment so that you aren't affected. So you have to be reflective, okay? Got to be reflective. Oh, I'm trying my best to keep these all short because we still, we're almost halfway there, kind of, a little bit. But it's just so good, y'all, right? And I know you with me, so it's cool. It's cool. But R is for reflective, okay? So next, the S in the word first stands for self-care. You must prioritize your self-care by any means necessary because self-care is not selfish. It is very important to your well-being, your mental and emotional health. And as I mentioned many times, it overflows into your physical health. When you practice self-care, you're giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. And I know sometimes you're like, I don't have time for self-care, or I don't have money for self-care, but self-care is so much more than shopping sprees and spa days and things like that, okay? Yes, that can be a form of self-care for some people, but that is not the only way to practice self-care. You can do self-care without having a whole lot of time, without having a whole lot of money. Maybe you just need to step outside and breathe deeply for 5 minutes in fresh air. Maybe you need to spend a little more time in the shower. Maybe you need to turn off everything and read a book for an hour. You define what self-care looks like for you, but it's important that you engage in regular self-care activities. Have some things that you do daily, have some things that you do weekly, have some things that you do monthly, quarterly, annually. Have all of that ready to go, okay? Sit down and think it out. Some things will cost a little money, some things won't. Some things will take a little bit more time, some things won't. But it's very important that you practice self-care because when you lack self-care, you become irritable, you become moody, you become resentful, you become snappy, all of these things. And you know some of those things I mentioned towards the beginning when I was explaining why it's important that we create a first-class life? A lack of self-care feeds into all of those factors as well. So we have to prioritize our self-care. And you might be thinking, oh no, my kids come first. That is a good one for those that have kids. That is, my kids come first. No, listen. As selfish as it sounds, but really it's society that makes you feel selfish. You have to put yourself, you have to put yourself first, whether it's for your kids or your parents or your friends or anybody. Because if you aren't well mentally and emotionally and physically, then how are you going to take care of them? How are you going to take care of them if you're dead? Or if you have a nervous breakdown, or if you get committed because you done got suicidal. And here's the thing, we all like to think that it will never happen to us until it does. And by then, we're trying to correct the path that we done already laid. So it's better to be proactive rather than reactive and be preventative in practicing self-care. Now, some ways you can practice self-care is to establish and maintain boundaries. Every single person in your life needs a boundary. Your kids, your significant other, your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your auntie, your best friend, your coworker, your supervisor, your clients. Even your dog Bobo, okay? If you got a fish named Nemo, you fish too, okay? Everybody needs a boundary to some extent. Some people will have more. Some people's boundaries will be a little bit lax, depends on the relationship, but boundaries are a part of self-care. Saying no is a part of self-care. No without explanation. N-O, period. That's a complete sentence, okay? No, you can't go to that event today. No, you can't loan somebody this amount of money. No, you can't do fill in the blank here. You don't have to do everything for everybody all the time. Raise your hand if you are that person that does all the things for all the people all the time. My hand is raised. I mean, I don't do that anymore, obviously, but every now and then I could slip back into that, and I have to catch myself. I have to be self-aware and reflective and bring myself up out of that, okay? So sometimes self-care can be really ugly, and we have to embrace that. Self-care is going to therapy and healing our past traumas and negative experiences so that we can live a better life for the future, okay? So remember this, you can't create logical solutions from emotional places. And when you are lacking self-care, you are all up in your emotions. And so whenever you do come to obstacles, it's harder to see those solutions because we are in emotional places. So let's move on to the T. T is for thankful. Okay, attitude of gratitude, baby. Yes. Remember this, it could always be worse. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, it could always be worse. There are thousands of people that are 10 steps behind you, just praying and wishing and hoping to get to where you are, even if you aren't where you want to be. Think about this. You're upset that your car is breaking down, and you got to do a little extra to the pedal to get it to go. Meanwhile, there's somebody that's riding the bus, wishing that they had a car to put gas in and to fix the brakes and to fix the AC and all of those good things, wishing that they could complain about gas prices. And then there's somebody with the bike, wishing that they had bus fare to ride the bus so that they could go further than where they can on their bike. Then there's somebody that is walking that wishes that they had a bike so they wouldn't have to walk, because although walking is good for you, they're tired of walking because they got to walk everywhere. And then there's somebody that's in a wheelchair that wishes that they had the legs and the capacity to walk at all. So my point is, you get the point already. It could always be worse. For example, with my wreck, I was thankful that I was alive. And although I couldn't see, I was thankful that I didn't go blind. Because what had happened was, I've worn glasses since the first grade. I know you don't see any on my face right now if you're watching with your eyes. But that's because, I got LASIK the other year. Okay. But I couldn't see because they had taken out my contacts during the surgery. And so literally everything around me was blurry. And then, although I had damage to my ear and I couldn't hear out of one side for a little bit, I could still hear. So I was thankful that I didn't go deaf. I could still hear, and eventually I could hear better and better in that damaged ear. Although I was paralyzed, I was thankful that I still had a cognitive mind, because they were preparing my family and friends for me to be a completely different person if I ever woke up. Like, once my body started making it, they didn't think, well, her body's making it, but she might not wake up. And if she does, she might be a completely different person. So be prepared. Like, I'm thankful that I still have my cognitive mind. And so then when I did start walking, even though it was a limp and a wobble, like, I was thankful that I wasn't confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So sometimes we have to be thankful for what we do have and also be thankful for what we do not have, as I just illustrated. But attitude of gratitude. And here's the thing, whenever you come from that space and you're thankful for what you do have, you attract more things into your life to be thankful for. Okay, so that rounds out first. FIRST. F is for faithful, I is for intentional, R is for reflective, S is for self-care, T is for thankful. So now let's move on to the word class. C is for confident. Yes, you want to be confident in all that you do. Now, here's the thing about confidence, though. You can be confident, but that doesn't mean that it's a good kind, okay? Just think about, have you ever been around somebody where they was just so confident in what they were talking about and you knew they were lying, but they were so confident they knew it was the truth. So your confidence could be used for good or bad, okay? But because you're here, I know you want to use your confidence for good. Now listen, when you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. I'm going to say that again. When you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. And doubt is a bigger dream killer than failure ever is. Doubts and fears is a bigger dream killer. Oh, I'm getting all tongue-tied. Look, I'm still getting tongue-tied. I promise y'all, I haven't been drinking nothing but water all today. Doubts and fears is a bigger dream killer than failure ever is. Because more people don't reach their goals and dreams, all because they doubted their abilities or they was fearful of what was to happen or not happen. And so they never went after it. But because you're here with me, I don't want that to be you. And I know it's not going to be, okay? So we got this, boo. Now, I like to call this the confidence power, CP for short. We all have confidence power, okay? And how are you flexing your confidence power? You want that baby boy to be on 10, all right? Not a 0. We want to be confidence power level 10. And that means your confidence and ability to influence the environment. Going back to the R with reflective, when I told you to think about that person that just brightens up the mood anytime they walk in. They are confident in who they are, whether they recognize it or not. And because they are confident in who they are, they have the ability to influence the room. Even just thinking about them walking in brightens up your mood. Oh, Sammy's going to be there? Oh, yeah, I'm excited to go. See? So you need to think about, how does my confidence influence my environment? Because it can go either way, negative or positive. But again, we're going to focus on it positively making an impact. And you show up differently when you're confident. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you got a haircut or a new hairstyle and you walked out that hair salon or that barbershop and you was just like, ooh, I'm looking fly today. And you had a little more pep in your step, or you got a brand new outfit and you walked out the house like, yes, I'm sexy, honey. You show up differently when you're confident. And that doesn't always mean confident in looks, okay? Confident in your abilities to do what you need to do. Like maybe you know you're about to go in there and kill it in this meeting with your team or with your employees, your coworkers, whatever it is. Maybe in sports, you know that you are confident in basketball or whatever you play. Like you have to show up and make sure your confidence power is on high, because you show up differently, and how you show up is going to affect how other people interact and engage with you as well. So, case in point, I had a client and she was not confident in herself. And she really had been wanting a promotion at work. And she wanted to be a trainer. And after working with me, she, boosted her confidence. We had to work on a lot of other stuff as well. And, the reasons why her confidence was low in the first place, and do all of that work. But she started showing up differently. It's like you have to be confident in where you are now to be able to elevate to the next level, because you never know who's watching. And because she started showing up differently, even though she didn't necessarily have the background for the position she wanted, she was noticed at a meeting and she was offered to run a meeting in another area. And so she obviously took that. And because she excelled and showed up confidently there, eventually she just kept going up and up to the next thing you know, she's being a trainer for many other branches at different locations. Exactly what she wanted to do. But it first started with her showing up confidently with where she was. So Let's move on to the L. L is for leadership. Please understand, baby boo, that you are a leader no matter what title you have or don't have. You are a leader no matter who you are. We all have an area that we're a leader in. Now, that doesn't mean that, sometimes we got to play a supporting role, but there is always a time for us to be the leader that we are. First and foremost, you're always a leader in your home. And then outside of your home, there's some place where you are the leader, whether you recognize it or not, whether you have the title or not. And so it's important to understand what is a leader really, because it's not about the titles. It's not about being a boss. It's not about, telling people what to do. It's not about having the authority. Instead, a leader is impactful. They are good communicators. They are influential. They help to build other leaders. They're not constantly in competition with everyone. Like, I can't help you at all because you're going to take my spot. No. Leaders help to build other leaders. And this is about to sound real creepy, but somebody is always watching, and you never know who is watching. Just like with the client that I just mentioned for confidence. She didn't know anybody was watching her. And when she started showing up differently with more confidence and doing her current role at the time with confidence, with more energy and things like that, people started taking notice, and she didn't even know, like that the higher ups had started to hear about her and pay attention to what she was doing. So someone is always watching, whether it's your kids or your friends or people in the community, or maybe even strangers that you've never even met before. Someone is always watching. So it's important that you give them something good to watch. And by good, I mean positive. Okay. I don't mean like you have to be out here selling 1 billion records like Beyonce, or I don't know how many records she sold, but you get the point. Okay. So think about that. Someone is always watching. And another thing about being a leader is that we have to model being a good leader. Okay. It's not just talk. We have to walk the walk and talk the talk. We have to show up and be the leader. And, I said that wrong. We have to show up and be the person that we desire others to be. And I don't mean like, make carbon copies of ourselves, but we have to model the behavior that we want. I'll use my kids as an example. I have 2 little ones. One, well, they're not little anymore, but they're little to me. One is a perfectionist, and, that one is going to keep doing it over and over and over till it's perfect. And the other gives up very easily. And so I have to be mindful of my emotions and what I'm teaching them, because most people, they're not going to pay attention to your words. They're going to pay attention to how you made them feel and the things that you are doing. They're going to observe you. And so if one of them were to become frustrated for one reason or another, their logical brains are not going to think about what did mommy say to do when I'm frustrated. Now, eventually they can get and grow to that space, that emotional intelligence and things like that. They already have. But for example purposes, most of the time, our brain is not going to go to the logical. Our brain is going to hop to the emotional. But instead of thinking about what do I need to do because I'm frustrated, their brain is going to quickly pull up all the instances that they saw mommy be frustrated, or they saw, grandma or grandpa or daddy or their friends be frustrated. And they're going to quickly download the way that everybody reacted. And then they're going to react that way, whatever was the average sum of how everybody reacted, but definitely the parents, the people closest to them. And so that's why it's important that we model how we want others to behave or, do or whatever it is that you're leading. Okay. So remember that our brain processes emotion before it processes logic, often, more often than not. And it happens within a matter of seconds. So let's move on. The A equals action oriented. We have to take action. Now, earlier, I kind of alluded to this. We can't just make a vision board or, set the intentions and then not do anything. All of these things work together. So we have to implement the things that we learned. We have to take action. Okay. We can't just sit on the couch and wait for it to come, plop down in our lap. That's not how life works. Sometimes we got to get up and go outside of our house, maybe drive down the block and take some sort of action to achieve our dreams and goals, whatever that looks like for you. So remember, vision without execution will never succeed. And for my spiritual folks tuned in, you know what they say, faith without works is what? Is dead. So again, science and spirituality working together, okay? Just remember, because a lot of times we can get struck with analysis paralysis, which means we want it to be perfect and there's so much to do that we end up doing nothing. But progress is better than perfection. You can't improve and grow on nothing. You got to do something so that you can know and learn what to do better the next time, so that you can know and learn if you even really like it or not. Progress is better than perfection. And perfection doesn't exist. Okay? So oftentimes when we're striving for perfection, we end up on this hamster wheel because it doesn't exist. But we keep trying and we keep trying and we keep trying and we keep trying, and we're working ourselves up and we're getting stressed out because we can't get it perfect. So we never release the product, or we never start the business, or we never apply for the promotion, or we never go out for the solo, or whatever it is, because we can't get it perfect. And we do ourselves a disservice. We do the people that we're meant to serve a disservice. And then we start to beat up on ourselves because we can't get it perfect. And that's actually an indicator of a sense of a low self-worth. But we're going to come to that next, actually. So let me not jump the gun. But remember, nothing will ever be perfect. What's important is that we try our best. We strive for excellence and not perfection. And you know what? Let's all say this together right now, okay? Repeat after me. I release the need to be perfect. I release the need to be perfect. Perfectionism does not serve me. I release the need to be perfect. Perfectionism does not serve me. Write that down in your notebooks. Paste it on your mirror. Whatever you need to do. I release the need to be perfect. Perfectionism does not serve me, because guess what? It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve nobody. Yes, double negative. Okay. Sometimes that just makes the phrase hit a little better. It doesn't serve nobody. All right. And sometimes we got to get out of our comfort zone to take that action. We got to stop worrying about what people will think if I'm not perfect, because again, guess what? Nobody's perfect. So we got to get ourselves out of that comfort zone. Success is on the other side of our comfort zone. I always like to say, we got to stop chasing dollars and instead collect the pennies. So think about this. How many times have you stepped over a penny when you're out and about? Like, oh, it's just a penny. Oh, it's just a penny. I'm not bending over to do that. But if you were to see a $5 bill, you would pick that sucker up in a hurry. Now think about throughout your life, how many times have you actually found a $1 bill, $5 bill, $20 bill on the ground? Probably not very often. But yet we step over pennies every single day. People leave pennies around all over the place. And 100 pennies still equals $1. But yet, because we got to do a little bit more work, we leave it. Because it seems seemingly insignificant, we leave it. But just like the pennies equaling $1 in life, it is the small, seemingly insignificant moments that add up to the big life changes. We like to say, oh, I'm going to get out of debt when I win the lottery. When's the last time you really won the lottery? And of a significant amount? So we're always chasing after these big moments, thinking it's going to turn our life around, but that's not the case. It is the accumulation, the compound interest of those everyday small adjustments, small behaviors, small thoughts that add up to the change in our lives, to the change in our situation. So stop chasing dollars and start getting after those pennies, okay? Now, one more thing before we move on to the next S. When it comes to taking action, sometimes we don't take action because we're stuck in victim mode. When you are stuck in victim mode, you give up your power for change. You are telling yourself that other people control my life. Other people control what happens in my life. Oh, woe is me. Throw me a pity party. Wah, 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 wah. And I'm not trying to be condescending at all. But when we are stuck in victim mode, we give up our power for change. So we have to snatch our power back and say, I will not be a victim to my circumstances. I will not be a victim to debt. I will not be a victim to my upbringing or my socioeconomic background or whatever it is that you're using as an excuse. And instead, I will be a victor. I will set my intentions and I will take action. I will be faithful that it's all going to work out for my good as long as I do what I'm supposed to do. I will be thankful for the resources and tools that I do have. I might not have everything that I want, but we have to move out of that victim mentality because it doesn't serve you or anyone you're meant to serve. Okay? Now, one last thing. Did I just say that for the last part? Well, this is part of that. That's a continuation of that last thought, okay? Don't shoot me now. We're having a good conversation, family. Good conversation. When I had to go to therapy, I was faithful that it would all work out and that there was a purpose bigger than me. I set my intentions on walking again, and not just walking any kind of way. I said very specifically, I do not want to walk with a walker. I do not want to walk with a cane. I do not want to be in a wheelchair. I want to walk on my own 2 feet. And then guess what? After I was faithful and set my intentions, I had to get up and do the work. I was in therapy from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 7 days a week, holidays and weekends included. Every single therapy that you could think of. And it was not fun, y'all. It was not fun. As I was regaining feeling in my body, it was very, very painful. Especially because most of my injury was like head trauma into my spinal cord. It was a very painful experience. And if I didn't know what I was fighting for, if I didn't set my intentions clearly, if I didn't believe that it was all going to work out for me, then I could have easily given up. Because why? Because, this is excruciating pain, sending sharp pains through my back. Like, this shock therapy. That's one of the therapies that I had to do every day. And guess what? They didn't know if it would work. But what it is they connected wires to my body. Think like in the movies with somebody connected wires all over them. And then they essentially electrocuted me, okay? They sent electrical shocks, electrical volts through my body. In a sense, they were trying to jumpstart my nerves. And it started at a real low voltage. And then it gradually increased and increased and increased and increased. And it did not feel good. It did not tickle. It was very uncomfortable, borderline painful. But I did it because I knew what I was fighting for. So again, when your intentions are set clearly and you start to take that action, whenever the pain comes, whenever the obstacles come, it helps for you to keep going. Okay, so you got to be action oriented. Now, that second S in the whole phrase, but first S in the word class stands for self-worth. Listen, first class family, I need you to understand that you are worthy of every single thing that you desire, period, point blank. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. And I'm just going to repeat that one more time because you are worthy. We're just going to take a pause so you can repeat that to yourself. Say, I am worthy. I am worthy. And here's the thing, half of y'all listening are going to have trouble even saying that phrase to yourself, let alone out loud. Definitely not if you're around other people. And that is a problem for me. That is why I am here. That is why First Class Life exists, because I don't want that to be you anymore. You hear me clapping in the mic? You are worthy. Sorry for those with the headphones on. Okay, I should have warned you to turn your volume down a moment. And listen, self-worth is not the same thing as confidence, okay? Because you can be highly confident in yourself or in your abilities to achieve a task, but then go home and beat yourself up and not feel worthy of your goals and dreams. They are not the same thing. Now, here are some very common limiting beliefs. And don't feel bad, because we all have limiting beliefs. Every single person breathing has limiting beliefs, some more than others, some more extreme than others, but we all have them. And these are just a few of the common ones. If you ever feel like I'm not good enough, that was mine. That is still mine, because limiting beliefs don't go away. We just learn how to control them and how to manage them instead of them controlling us. I am not good enough was my main limiting belief. And I know for many of you listening, family, that is also your limiting belief. I am not good enough. What are some other ones? That fear of rejection, fear of failure, even fear of success can be a limiting belief for some people. If you ever feel like I don't deserve ... I don't deserve true love. I don't deserve this promotion, whatever it is. Or I always have bad luck. Or I can't trust anyone. Or what will people think of me? Those are just a few of the limiting beliefs that we can experience that drives our behaviors and drives our thoughts. And the things that we're thinking influences our behaviors. So if we're constantly thinking that we're not good enough, then we aren't showing up like we're good enough. We aren't going after those goals and dreams like we really need to, because we don't really feel we deserve it, or that we're worth it, or that we're good enough for it. I mean, think about this. I'm sure we've all had an experience at some point in our lives where we didn't feel qualified for a certain position or a certain role, or, a certain title, or whatever it is. That can go across anything, not just in a workplace environment. But we didn't feel qualified. And so we counted ourselves out without even trying. Not knowing that the position or the title or the role was created for us. But because we didn't show up and show up confidently, it went to somebody else. And then we went on being resentful. So those are just some of the things to think about. Now, let's think of some of the ways that those thoughts and emotions show up in our behaviors. Okay, now this is just a few. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. Otherwise, we'd be here all day. And we've already been here a while, but I know this is good stuff. It's important that you know these things, okay, family? If you find yourself frequently apologizing, even when you've done no wrong, that can be a sign of a low sense of self-worth. If you settle for less than what you truly desire more often than not, that can be a sign of a low sense of self-worth. If you're a chronic people pleaser, if you're constantly striving for perfection, it's always got to be perfect. If everything's always got to work out, or you get a little crazy if it doesn't, those are all signs of a low sense of self-worth. If you are constantly setting small goals that you knock out with ease, that means you have a low sense of self-worth, because all of your goals shouldn't be so easy to hit. Now, don't get me wrong. We like easy to hit goals, but that means you're not truly stretching yourself. You're not really growing. If every single goal you hit or you make for yourself, you always hit, then you aren't thinking big. You are playing small. You are staying in your comfort zone. And why? Because there's a piece of you down deep inside that doesn't feel worthy, or doesn't feel good enough, or doesn't feel that you'll be able to achieve the goal if you set it higher. We're not going to do that anymore, family, okay? If you're always comparing yourself to others, if you're always doubting yourself, doubting your decisions, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oh, maybe I should do this. I don't know what to do. Those are all ways that a low sense of self-worth can show up in our behaviors, okay? So we have to be mindful of how we're talking to ourselves. Start a thought log and keep track of the things that you're thinking. Keep track of the things that you're telling yourself day in and day out, because there are thousands and thousands of thoughts going through your head all day, every day. And most of them are repetitive. 90% of them are repetitive. And so, again, your thoughts influences your behaviors, which influences the environment that you live in. They say the thoughts that you had 5 years ago creates the reality you live in today. So ask yourself, where do you want to be 5 years from now? And how are your thoughts aligned with that vision? Setting those intentions, right? Again, I told you, all of this stuff works together. It works together. So, one last question before we move on with that is, if your friends talk to you the way that you talk to you, would you still be friends with them? Probably not, because most of our thoughts are generally negative. But that's okay, because we're going to move past that, right, family? Right. Yes, let's move on to this last S to round out class, okay? S is for self-discipline. You got to get out your feelings, okay? Get out of your feelings. I always like to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself, all right? So many times we put the blame on other people, but we really have to be accountable for our own actions and our own behaviors, and even be accountable for our inaction as well, i.e. the things that we didn't do that we were supposed to do. Okay, we have to be accountable and responsible for ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, am I really doing all the things that I need to do to achieve my goals and dreams? Am I really doing all the things that I need to do to create my first class life? Am I doing all the things that I really need to do to create the happiness that I desire for myself? Am I doing all the things that I really need to do to attract that significant other that's going to love me and all of me wholly, that's going to help me grow, help me heal? Am I doing all the things that I need to do to obtain that promotion? Am I doing all the things that I need to do to get out of debt, to build wealth, to break generational curses, whatever it is for you? Okay, think about it. So we have to focus, set our intentions, and then focus on what that is. Remember, where your focus goes, your energy flows. We have to be like racehorses and put on our blinders. You see, with racehorses, they put blinders on them because what happens is if they catch something in their peripheral, they will either get spooked or they'll start to run, in a different direction. And if they're a racehorse, they got to stay on track. Okay, so they put the blinders on the racehorse so that they can't see off to the sides and get distracted and lose the race. So you have to put on your blinders and focus on the goal that you want to achieve for yourself, and not get distracted by the people around you, not get distracted by your circumstances. Because sometimes what we see with our visible eyes does not look anything like what we desire in our heart. And that can be an obstacle for us because we don't know how we're going to get from where we are right now to where we want to be. But we can't focus on that. We have to be aware of where we are, but then we focus on where we're trying to go and we take action towards that. All right. And again, it's easier to focus when you've set clear intentions on what you're focused on. So that is first class, family. Now, I know you're thinking, well, Lindsey, the phrase is first class life. We only did first class. Well, those first 10 key factors are the most important. And these next ones, they are also equally important, but you really want to master the first 10 and have these as like They're your side piece, okay? They're your sidekick. They're the Robin Hood to your Batman that helps enhance the overall experience. Okay, so life, the L in life stands for lifelong learner. And that means we got to stay a student. Okay, we should always be learning and growing, because the only thing consistent in this whole entire world is that it will change. Think about it. How many of you have moved away from your hometown and every time you go back, something is different? I'm sure that your life looks different now than it did a year ago, than it did 5 years ago, than it did 10 years ago. How many times have you seen somebody that you used to know and you're like, dang, I don't even recognize them for one reason or another? Maybe their personality changed, or maybe their physique changed, or whatever it is. The only thing consistent in this life is that we're born and we die, and things will always change. And guess what? Life will continue to go on with or without us. So we got to make the best of our lives while we're here and while we're having the time, because remember, no one is promised tomorrow. Now, the I in life stands for investor. Now, I don't just mean money, investing in stocks and bonds and all of that good stuff. I mean a good investor of not only your money, but also your time and your energy. That is equally important, if not more. Being mindful of how you invest your time and your energy. For example, there is someone in my life that, every time they're around or, they're talking, everything is negative. It's a problem for every problem. And if you give them a solution, there's a problem. And they're just a negative Nancy. They are a dreadful David, okay? And every time they call, I notice that my energy would be depleted. Because remember, everything is energy. We only have so much to give and take. And every interaction you have is either draining your energy, or it's filling up your energy, or it's an equal exchange. And so think about the people that drain energy in your life. Maybe you need to let them go completely, or give them some space and love them from a distance, okay? So whenever this particular person calls me, I can't answer the phone unless I do a quick assessment. I have to ask myself, do I have the time, one, and the extra energy that it's going to take this phone call? Because I know once I get on this phone call, they're going to talk my ear off, and it's going to drain my energy because it's going to be a constant complaint and problem fest. And so if the answer is no to either one of those, then I don't answer. And guess what? The world still goes on. And guess what? They still call me. Like, I didn't lose the relationship because I didn't answer the phone, because I didn't jump when they called and metaphorically told me to jump, okay? But if I do have the extra time and I do have the extra energy, then hello, hey, how you doing? I'll answer the phone. But it has to be a yes to both of those. So the I in life stands for investor. You are a wise investor of not just your money, but also your time and your energy, because those two things you can never get back. Money can always be replaced, but time can never be replaced. You can replace your energy, but still. Okay. And then the F in life stands for fearless. And what that means is that we do it afraid, because here's the thing, fear never goes away. It is a natural part of our biology. And it's there for a reason. We have fear to help keep us alive. Our brain, its number one responsibility is to keep us alive. And so it, has this tendency to do things like make us fearful of things that aren't really fearful, that we don't need to be afraid of. But we can't fault our brain. It's just trying to keep us alive. And so fear never goes away. But sometimes we have to say, you know what, fear, you're going to have to take a back seat and put yourself in the driver's seat. And don't allow fear to control your life. Instead, use that fear as fuel to drive you and push you towards where you want to be. So think of it this way. Fear stands for false expectations appearing real. And that's what our brain will give us. These false expectations that seem like they're real, but really, remember what I said earlier, 90% of our fears and worries never come true. So we have to flip that and change that to fear, meaning face everything and rise. Rise above the fear. Go after your dreams and goals. And if you fall down, hey, at least you know what to do better next time. It's okay. Get back up and keep going. Last, the E in life stands for empowering. Whenever we are living a first-class life, not only is it empowering for us, but it's empowering to the people around us. It's empowering to the people we serve. It's empowering to the people that are watching that we don't even know is watching. Okay, because we're all in this thing called life together. And we're here to support one another. Whether we recognize it or not, we are all in this together. All right. Yay, family. Thank you for hanging in with me, okay? Listen, that is what first class life means. We talked about why it's important. We went over each letter in the acronym. And so I want you to talk to me, okay? Talk back to me because, again, this is your show. This is a conversation. And I'm so excited to introduce to you the different guests that we are going to dive deeper with. That's going to, give us logic and gems and tell us how they overcame different obstacles to help us grow as leaders, to help us maximize our impact, to help us create a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. But first, in the comments right now, I want you to share which factor do you resonate with the most in this moment, because again, they can change from day to day and really you want to embody a lot of them. But which factor do you resonate with the most right now in this moment? Leave it in the comments. Let me know because I would love to hear from you, okay? So that is a wrap just about for the first episode of the First Class Live Show. Now, I want to share with you some additional ways where you can really get the most out of this show. This is your show, your personal development show, okay? It's part of my purpose and mission to help you create your first class life and maximize your impact as a high achieving leader. Okay, remember, no matter who you are a leader. Now, what you can do after you leave a comment about which factor resonates with you the most right now is then you can click the link and go to Patreon and join our Patreon private community. Okay, that's www.patreon.com/firstclasslife. patreon.com/firstclasslife. Because when you join the Patreon private community, there's two levels. One is just a supporter. You want to help keep this show going because it takes a lot of work and energy to provide you with great content. And then two, the premium level gets you some insider perks, okay? Get you some family bonuses, all right? Because you're first class family and the good family, the kind that we like, that we're excited to see at the cookout, okay? So it gets you some bonus perks like discounts, bonus video footage, bonus content and resources, all of these good things. So definitely make sure that you join our private Patreon community. Again, that's patreon.com/firstclasslife. You also get access to transcripts and so many goodies. So check it out, join the community, and let's go even deeper, okay? Now, last thing I want to share with you as we wrap up is for those of you that desire to go deeper with your work right now, and you're like, how can I supplement the things that I'm working on in my life as I'm listening to the First Class Life Show? And let me just share with you a few of those ways, because there is an entire book series for those of you that like to read. All right. So we have First Class Life. This is the foundational book right here. And we just went over each of these factors. First Class Life, 10 key factors to creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. Get that right now. And then we have Volume 1 and Volume 2, First Class Life, 10 empowering lessons for creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And there are great co-authors for each chapter. So you got Volume 1, you got Volume 2. And then this next one is First Class Life Devotional. 35 testimonies of phenomenal faith through turbulent times. And again, even if you are not a spiritual person, still get this book because it is transformational and life-changing. All of these books are, okay? And you can see all of the beautiful authors there on the back. So that is the book series for those of you that are readers. And this one also has bonus resources that you can download as well that go with each chapter. But hey, don't worry. If you're not a reader, maybe you like your First Class Life, the coloring book. And it's so amazing because all of the coloring sheets align with the things that you are learning as you create your First Class Life. Okay, so we got the First Class Life coloring book, and then we also have the First Class Life workbook. And this has a lot of worksheets and exercises in it to, again, just go deeper on your growth and things like that. A lot of reflective prompts and things of that nature. So definitely check out firstclasslifeshop.com to access those resources. And there's a lot of other stuff there as well, like the lifestyle affirmation cards. There's hoodies, there's t-shirts, there's leggings, all kinds of things. Just go check it out at firstclasslifeshop.com. SHOP, like you go shopping at a store. All right. So First Class family, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you could be doing anything in the world right now, but you are here with me on today. So one last thing I need y'all to do. I need y'all to like this show. I need y'all to comment down in the comments below. I need y'all to rate and review this show, share this show out, and definitely make sure you subscribe, okay? That's how you can show some love on these internet streets. Comment, like, rate, review, subscribe, share, all of those good things, because you never know who needs to know the information that we are sharing here on the First Class Life Show. And again, I am honored to be on this journey with you as you are deepening your personal development and growing your mindset and on this journey for self-improvement. I really do appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you. And I want you to remember that you are worthy of every single thing you desire. Please don't ever forget that. All right. And again, I can't say it enough. I thank you for being with me here today. Go back and listen to the replay. If you need to take breaks, I'm saying this at the end. I should have said it at the beginning, but if you need to take breaks and come on back, then do that. Do what you need to do. Just consume the information. And I encourage you to pick something and take action on it today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week, but pick something and take action today. And don't forget to comment which factor do you resonate with the most right now in this moment. Okay. So First Class family, we family now, the good kind. Hey, 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 favorite cousin. Yo, yo, yo. I can be your auntie or your sister or your cousin. I'm not going to be your grandma, but we family, First Class family. Welcome to the family, you high achieving leader, you. And I'm so proud of you. I know that you desire to maximize your impact. And again, I'm honored to be on this journey with you as you are creating your life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So make sure you subscribe and get the notification so you can know when new episodes drop every single Monday. And if you're a part of the Patreon family, then you'll get bonus footage as well every Thursday. So definitely check all of those things out. The firstclasslifepodcast.com is the main hub of where you can find everything. The firstclasslifepodcast.com. Don't forget the THE at the very beginning. But All right, that's it. We hung in there, and I'm super grateful for you again. And never forget how worthy you are. Never forget that you are more powerful than the blocks in your life. Never forget that you are fully capable of achieving all that you desire, and you deserve it. Okay, so go out there, master your mindset, walk in your purpose, and live your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. Until next time, guys, I will see you next week with our very, very first guest. All right, bye.
Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But please be sure to subscribe to the First Class Life Show. And don't forget to rate, leave a review, and join our private community so that we can continue to provide you with great personal development conversations to help you maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it.